It's me, Donnie Cottonhill, helping you better your life through understanding human nature. The art of surrendering. We all hear this thing over and over again. You gotta keep that fight going if you wanna be successful. You gotta hustle and grind. And I totally agree. At everyone's life, there is a period of time that we all have our nose to the grindstone and hustling and struggling and doing a lot of things in hope of achieving wealth and abundance and success in our life. There is nothing wrong with that. But at some point, you have to realize there is a better way to achieve the things that you want in your life simply by surrendering. Surrendering to the universe doesn't mean that you give up on your dreams and go live in a cave or meditate all the time, or none of that matters. No, none of that. That's what I mean. The art of surrendering means the separation of your work and the outcome. When you're actually, working so hard and struggling and hustling, even back in the days when I used to work like 2, 3 jobs and working a lot of things on the side and starting side hustle here and there and all these kind of things in hopes of achieving financial freedom, I was always put too much effort into the expectation and the outcome of the work I'm doing. So I was too focused on the outcome. Like, I'm going to do this side hustle and I'm going to make this much money and this amount of money and I'm going to invest this much, I'm going to save this much, I'm going to spend this much, doing all those things and too much focus into these numbers. Then what end up happening was like I was working so hard all the time, every time, like 80 weeks, sometimes 100, not 80 weeks, 80 hours to 120 hours a week. Sometimes 12 to 16 hours per day, keep working and hustling. And what ended up going to happen is that what ended up happening was I didn't have any time to think or relax or get information. So I'm reading all these books, listening to the podcast and doing the things and hustling and grinding, and still I was barely keeping my head above the water. There was no abundance. Yeah, I was making money, but there was always a scarcity mindset that this is not enough. I cannot stop. I have to keep hustling. That's the only way to make money. When you have that mindset and put too much attention to the outcome, what ends up going to happen is that you probably might not likely get to the outcome you want because you're always stressed. You don't have any time to think or strategize and plan and do anything outside of the box, even though there's a lot of other opportunities that are way easier and way attractive and way lucrative, but you don't see them because you don't have any time to look at those things or analyze or study, or because you're always hustling, you're always putting your work and having your nose to the grindstone. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice and it seems like I'm getting a flu or something. But anyway, I still want to help you guys out, so I'm still here making videos. Anyway, so what I'm saying from my life experience, I learned when I was putting too much pressure on the outcome of whatever I'm doing, it never end up very well because you never get to do the job properly. You never get to see other opportunities or better opportunities and things like that. Sometimes, thinking is the hardest thing to do. Thinking is the hardest work out there. That's why a lot of people don't like to think. You might say, oh, he's working hard, or he's working 2 jobs or 3 jobs or working really hard. That's a physical work, but thinking is even harder than the physical work. So my advice is like the art of surrendering. You have to surrender yourself to the universe, So that doesn't mean you just simply give up and just do nothing and sit in a corner. No, that's not what I mean. Take some time out of your day. Maybe half an hour, maybe 15 minutes a day. Or maybe you can take a half a day, or you may maybe take an afternoon in a weekend or whatnot. Just simply relax. You have your goals, you know where you want to go, you want to achieve your goals, identify what you want in your life, identify the goals you want to achieve in your life, and then just simply relax yourself and just let your mind wander and relax and surrender. Yeah, these are my goals. I'm so grateful and happy that I feel like I'm already achieved these goals. I can achieve this. This is possible. And I really love to have this. But even if it doesn't happen, I don't care. I'm totally detached from the outcome. Just put yourself in that mindset. So when you totally detach from the outcome, what ends up going to happen is like something changes in your mind, right? So it doesn't now, you don't care if it work or not. You're not too much worried about the outcome. So you have more mental space or processing power in your brain. Like, when you run a Windows or Mac OS or something, when you run too many programs, the computer starts slowing down and freeze and you get the death of blue screen and things like that. Our brain is somewhat similar. Like, our brain has a processing power. When you put too much things, it doesn't have enough resources to do everything in a good way. So when you put too much stress on the outcome, then it takes away the processing power to create or innovate or come up with some new ideas or new strategies or whatnot. So you're stuck in this loop. You're too much focused on the outcome, and you are not getting any closer to the outcome. So you're stressing out. You're running out of money, and you put some money into the side gig, and you're losing it, and you keep stressed, and then that will prevent you from coming up with revolutionary ideas. And I heard the story about like Henry Ford had one guy in his office, and then back in the days, and he hired a consulting firm to come to their company and see how they can improve the process or improvise things and do things in a better way. And then they came and looked at the operations and things, and they found out this one guy sitting in an office chair, sitting in an office, putting his feet over his table, and he just sits there all day, every day. It doesn't seem like he's doing anything. He just sits there and getting paid. And then this consulting firm, these people, went to Henry Ford and said, you have to get rid of that guy. He's not doing anything. He just sits there and relax and take a salary every month. It's just a waste of money. You should get rid of him. And then the Henry Ford said, yeah, don't worry about him. Don't even think about touching him. He is thinking. He's sitting in that chair and thinking all day and every day. And last time when he came up with an idea, we saved a few $1,000,000. Every now and then, every couple of years, he come up with a brilliant idea, and then we make a few $1,000,000 out of him. So don't bother him. Just leave him alone. That's the power. Thinking is the hardest work out there, more harder than the physical labor. So if you look at the most wealthiest people in the world, they are not the most hard-working people. I'm not saying they don't hard work. They don't work hard, but they don't work as proportional, as hard as that is proportional to the amount of wealth they are making. If you purely look at the physical labor, it doesn't not even close, right? So we all have 24 hours. So it's not about working hard. It's not gonna make you rich. Hard work definitely helps, but you have to let your mind to figure out things, creative ways. When you think and when you relax and let go and surrender yourself. Okay, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, still fine. We'll come up with something, and just let go of that pressure and that demand on your brain to come up with the, force it to come up with a solution, rather than just simply relax and then just watch where your thoughts go, right? And that's exactly what happened in my life. I've been working so hard, and I'm working 2-3 jobs and hustling and things. I still remember back in the days when I used to work my 9 to 5 corporate life. I go to my job, and then I work in my office, and then right after my office, I get on the DoorDash and turn on DoorDash and start doing deliveries. So in my office, I got to wear a 3-piece suit and tie and dress shoes and everything. And then I was thinking, I lived about 20-25 minutes away from my office. So that's about a half an hour drive to go to my house and change and do the delivery. So I don't want to waste that half an hour. So right after I get out of my office, turn on DoorDash and start delivering food. So you can imagine like guy walking in a three-piece suit with a tie and dress shoes and everything walking into a restaurant to pick up deliveries. And whenever I walk into the restaurant, they were like, they think I'm there to dine in. Excuse me, hello sir, good morning, good evening sir, come on in. You know, do you want to sit inside or on the patio or whatnot? You know, saying these things. And I was like, oh no, 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 don't worry about it. I'm just here to pick up the DoorDash. And then you just watch your expression on their face, and it just they're shocked and surprised. You know, it's really funny to watch that. And then same thing when you go to deliver. You know, back in the days when I used to do this, was pre-COVID, and there was no contact delivery. You have to hand the food over to the person. I was in Canada, at least I don't know in the States, but in Canada, before pre-COVID, like with DoorDash, you are not allowed to leave the food at the door unattended. You have to hand it over to the customer, or if for any reason customer didn't pick it up within like 10-15 minutes, you gotta wait there, and then you still they didn't show up, or if you try to contact them, they don't answer it, then you have to destroy the food. That was their policy back then. So I will be handing out the food directly to the customer, not leaving at the door like right now. So anyway, when I'm about to hand over the food, they look at me as this guy in three-piece suit and tie and things and dressed really nice with dress shoes and everything and doing the deliveries, and they were like, what the hell happened? It was so funny to see their expression, that shock on their face. So I just don't remember. But I digress. So that was me. I was hustling and doing all things and trying to do, but never. I made a little bit of money. I was managed to pay off my student loan pretty quick compared to other people. So that helped me, but it didn't change it didn't give me break away from my scarcity mindset, or it didn't make me any amount of reasonable wealth, like a fuck you money or anything like that. No. But then at some point I said in an earlier video that why did I quit my six-figure job and things like that. So I'm not going to repeat all those things, but long story short, I hit a wall. I burnt out, and I don't know what to do. I don't even know what I like to do anymore, because I was forcing myself to do all these kind of jobs and hustles that I didn't really enjoy to make money. And at some point, I totally forgot what are the things that I like to do and enjoy. And that's when I quit my job, and then I just surrender myself. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I didn't have another job lined up, and I didn't even want to work for someone else anymore. So I start traveling and doing things, and then I start walking on the beach in Bali or somewhere in Southeast Asia, and then I was just relaxed. And for a couple of months, first couple of months, I didn't know what to do, but I just let it go. I was like, whatever happens, happens for the best. I'm just gonna relax. I'm just gonna walk and enjoy the beauty of the nature. And then I went to Bali, and then I was walking along the beach for first few days, and really beautiful in the evening, watching the sunset and stuff like that. And then one day I was walking on the beach, I was not thinking about anything, just relaxing. And suddenly an idea popped up in my mind. And I was like, wow, this is great. And I felt really confident about that idea. Usually when I start a business or a side hustle or whatnot, I was always thinking and doing 20 hours or maybe 100 hours of research, and doing how can I lose money, how do I fail, how do I do this, what are the risks, and all those kind of market analysis, and doing analysis by paralysis. Like, I do all of things, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not going to work, and give it up. Or even if I start it, it will take me a long time to get it working, because of thinking about all these things. But when I got this idea, I felt so confident. I felt like this is it. This is meant to be me. This is meant for me. I can make this work. I can do this. I felt so confident. So I just walked right back to my hotel room, and I opened up my MacBook and I started working on it, and the rest is history. So that's what I'm trying to say. When you let go, when you surrender, when you take apart that idea of that too much attached to the outcome, just get rid of that attachment. just being neutral. Like, yeah, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll figure out something else. And you relax in such a way and let your brain to go around and, do its things. And then it will, if you give it enough time, I truly believe it will come up with some great ideas or crazy innovative ideas. And then you can achieve several things in your life, a lot of success and money and wealth and abundance with very little effort. I'm not saying you shouldn't do anything. You have to put the work in. But if you're working on the right thing, it doesn't feel like working. That's the difference. When you work on something, work on a job or something that you hate, it feels like every second of every minute of the day, it feels like hell. But when you work on something that you really enjoy and really like and you're excited about, then it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like play. That's what I mean. So just surrender yourself. That is the art of surrendering. It doesn't mean art of surrendering, or surrendering doesn't mean you give up all your goals and ambitions and go sit in a cave and meditate all day every day. No, if that's what you want, go right there. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what I'm talking about. Especially if you're listening to my videos, probably you're very ambitious, and then you might have a lot of goals and dreams that you want to achieve. And all I'm saying, there is a better way, there is an easier way than putting your nose to the grindstone every day over and over again, because that's not going to get you very far. At some point, you're going to hit the wall and crash and burn. And I was there. I did that. I learned through the hard way. And then if you can, I just want to give you this information out there, and then maybe you can avoid the pain that I've been going through. And sometimes, you have to go through the pain to learn it. If that's your fate, then nobody can stop that. But I mean, one person can stop it. That's you yourself. And if you decide you don't want to go through all this pain and suffering and grinding and hustling to be successful, if you decide for yourself that you want to be successful easily and effortlessly, of course you can. Your beliefs and your thoughts makes your reality. And that's it for today. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.